Hello everyone, my name's Betty. I'm currently 49 years old. I was born in London. I was also born into the Sikh faith. Currently, I'm a little bit unsure about what path is for me. So I'm I feel like I'm on a bit of a journey. Work in catering. Yeah, I'm a mum, single mum. So I'm going to be reacting to some videos for the first time with IslamReact YouTube channel.
Support our channel by shopping at our store, memandmoon.com. Get the cutest Islamic stickers, pins and accessories.
لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه يسأل أيان يوم القيامة فإذا برق البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر كلا لا وزر إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه ثم إن علينا بيانه كلا بل تحبون العاجلة وتذرون الآخرة وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة ووجوه يومئذ باسرة تظن أن يفعل بها فاقرة كلا إذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق وظن أنه الفراق والتفت الساق بالساق إلى ربك يومئذ المساق فلا صدق ولا صلى ولكن كذب وتولى ثم ذهب إلى أهله يتمطى أولى لك فأولى ثم أولى لك فأولى أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى ألم يك نطفة من مني تمنى ثم كان علقة فخلق فسوى فجعل منه الزوجين الذكر والأنثى أليس ذلك بقادر على أن يحيي الموتى بلى.
Wow, that was deep.
First thing again, initial thoughts, feelings on what you just heard, read.
Thought-provoking. very deep. It's something that you don't think about. Well, you sometimes think about it, but probably not as much as when that's sort of brought to your attention. Yeah, it made us think.
Yeah. Any particular themes or verses or anything that stood out to you or hit you?
Yeah, the parts where it says that do not think that I can recreate you, including the bones and the fingertips. I was like, yeah, God can do that, because we believe once we're gone, we don't think past that point of our body. We think more about the spiritual journey. So yeah, that part kind of was like, oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, the people at the time of the Prophet, the ones who rejected him, they used to say that as well. It's mentioned in the Quran that, oh, is God going to bring us back when we're nothing but bones? How they couldn't fathom it. But it's true, like if God can create you in the first place, then he can create you again. It's interesting that it mentions fingertips, because obviously we know now that everyone has a unique fingerprint, don't they? And it's an interesting miracle mentioned in the Quran that this is kind of referenced all the way back then, like over 1,000 years ago. The unique part of you, even now God can bring it all back.
That can can recreate it. Yeah, and then the part where it's talking about, when you're literally just an embryo, or like, prior to an embryo, and God created that. And that went quite well with the, like the background of the sort. You see the cosmos, and it makes you think, that you've been created.
Yeah. So there's a few different topics that this chapter touches on. The name of the chapter is Qiyamah. Qiyamah means the day of standing, which means the day of judgment, basically. So we believe all the humans are going to be recreated from their graves, and then they're going to be standing, all of us, in front of God. And
some will have a happy face and some will have a sad.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what's mentioned as well, because how is it possible that a person who done so much evil through their life is treated the same as someone who done a lot of good through their life? It's unfair that there should be equal treatment there. So when you do a sin, it can be towards different people. So you can do a sin which is towards God, and you can do a sin which is towards humans. Doing any sin, whether it's towards humans or God, you have to ask forgiveness from God firstly anyways. So I'll give you an example of both. One is if I deliberately miss my prayer. I haven't harmed anyone, but I've sinned against God. Okay. So for those kind of sins, I have to ask God directly. Say, look, I was weak and forgive me, basically. Then you have sins against other humans. So if I lie to you, if I steal from you, if I cheat, if I do anything like this, I've infringed on your rights now. So I have to do two things. One, I have to ask for forgiveness from God, because he has commanded that we don't do those things. So by abusing you, I've broke his command. So firstly, I ask him for forgiveness. Secondly, I have to make amends with the human that I've wronged. So if I've stole something, I have to return it back, and I have to ask your forgiveness. If I've backbited about you, if I've slandered you, spread some bad fake information about you, I have to go and tell the truth and then ask your forgiveness. There has to be proper justice. You can't just abuse people, ask God to forgive you, and think it's all going to be okay. That person has a right over you, and you took that right. So we believe if you don't fix it in this world, you're going to have to answer in the next life for it. And that person will actually come on the day of judgment and take something from you in return for that. Islam, it covers every aspect. It doesn't let people get away scot-free.
That changes a lot in my mind, because like I used to think for a long time that people would say stuff like, oh, that's fine, I did this sin, but I'm going to go to the mosque and I'm going to ask for forgiveness. And I've heard a lot of times that people say, through the month of Ramadan, oh, we're going to do all that, we'll be washed clean.
No, that would be injustice. And God, regardless of religion, we believe God hates injustice. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or non-Muslim. He will allow non-Muslims to flourish if they're just, and he will cause Muslims to go down if they are unjust. That's how serious it is.
Honestly, how am I so completely blown?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So there's even no problem. There's even a saying of the Prophet. He said, a man or person will come on the day of judgment and they've done loads of good things in their life. All their good actions come with them. And it's like a mountain, you know, it's huge. This person's done a huge amount of good things. However, he's also abused people. He's stolen from someone. He's lied about someone. He's done this, he's done that. Everything is recorded. So what will happen is he'll come with his good actions on that day of judgment. And there'll be a long line of people who will say to God that he abused me, he done this to me, he done that to me. So in return, his good actions will be given to them, because that's the currency on the day of judgment, your good deeds and your bad deeds. So they'll take off from him and give it to all the people that have been abused until he has nothing left. His mountain's gone, but there's still more people waiting. He's still abused more people. So then how does God make it just? He takes the bad actions of those people and puts it onto this man in return for what he's done to them. And then he's dragged away, basically.
Yeah, so that all happens after you've passed on.
That is we call the great equalizer. That's what equalizes humanity. Now, right now, you can abuse someone and get away with it. You can be like Jimmy Savile, for example, abuse all these kids and die and not get punished for it. But you can't escape it in the next life. You're going to have to face all the individuals that you've harmed.
You know, yeah, justice will come.
Justice will come, yeah. So
I've just better start being a really good person now. I'm trying, you know.
That's the motivation that this is supposed to give you, you know. That's exactly what
it's really made me think a lot. But I always think on very simple terms. So when I'm talking to someone, I tend to sort of take a little one or two things and just focus on that. But yeah, this is really mind blowing. It's
Because I feel like some of the religions have that concept in them, especially things like Christianity, where it's kind of like just believe in Jesus and you're going to be saved. There's no mention of, okay, what about the people I've harmed? What about there's no like, you know.
There isn't, no.
Yeah. So Islam has that where your actions are going to be held accountable, you know.
Yeah, I must say I've sort of tried to think about Christianity in that as well, but yeah, there seems to be a lot more here.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of system, it really makes you reflect on each and every action of your life. We believe everything you say and do is recorded, and you'll be given a book on the day of judgment with all your actions in it, and then God is going to judge between the people.
Cool.
Yeah, so how do you feel like this contrasts with the last chapter you heard? Because obviously that was very different. It was more kind of calming, reassuring. This one's a bit more like
intense.
Think about it, yeah.
The one before was very sort of reassuring, you know, and there was felt like there was an element of warmth, whereas with this one it's a bit more hard hitting. It makes you think, it makes you sit there and go, wow, yeah, I need to think about this. Yeah, that's sort of what I got from both videos.
Some of the verses, I've got a few of the like verses here. One of them is that humans, they just want to continue in the sin, you know, they don't want to think about this next life, they don't want to think about answering. And it kind of goes back to what you said about some Muslims who think, oh yeah, I can just keep doing the sin and then I'm going to, you know, just ask for forgiveness but not rectify what I've done, you know.
Yeah, that's what I've heard a lot of. So that's what that's all I knew. Yeah.
You know, inside it's, you already can sense that that's not fair, you know. How can that person just get away with it? Yeah, it wouldn't make sense, you know. So in this chapter, God also mentions that he says you love this short, he says fleeting, you know, in English, the translation, fleeting life, you know, it's just like an illusion. You're here for 60, 70 years and then you're gone. And you neglect what's going to be forever after. So yeah, how do you feel about that? Because life, you know, we see it as just a short test, you know. It's just a test to see who's going to be good, who's going to be bad, in simple terms. And it's short, you know. It is short. You reach 50, you reach 60, and it's like blink of an eye, you know. You think about the past.
True, yeah, because obviously I'll be reaching 50 this year, so I do think it's passed really quickly. Me personally, I never thought more about what happens afterwards. I kind of felt like, I think everybody probably just feels that, you know, your time's passing, it's going, and you're constantly thinking, oh, have I achieved this? Have I achieved that? What have I achieved? What haven't I achieved? And you get so caught up in that. that you stop thinking about, why am I here? What am I meant to be doing? How am I investing in my life after I've passed? That's just, I'm literally thinking about that now. I haven't really thought about it.
I think it's even harder in this modern day and age because there's so many distractions now, you know.
It's not only distractions, it's like you're sort of conformed to behave and think a certain way, you know, like the whole narrative of being born, like in our sort of Sikh culture, it's all about readying yourself for marriage and then serving your husband and your in-laws. But then along with that, sort of modern times are where you're then expected to be educated as well, and then, you know, care for your children, care for your family, be educated, have a career. And sometimes I almost feel like as a woman, you're kind of expected to do more so you can like equal the man. And I don't know if it's just me personally, but I feel like there are certain levels where I would be quite happy to, you know, like maybe have a little bit of education just for myself, but then be prepared to have a role where I could focus on maybe my children and my house. Does that sound very traditional? I don't know. You know, these days, I feel if I said that to someone, they'll be like, what, really? You know, like, do you not want a career? Do you not want this? Do you not want that? Do you not feel like you need to achieve something? But that's me being really honest with myself, is that no, I felt like that was okay for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting you say that because that basically matches what Islam says. You know, Islam, it doesn't treat genders equally. It treats them with justice. So it's like, for example, you would expect an adult to work, but you wouldn't expect a child to work. If you want to treat them equally, you would make them both work. But that's not justice, you know, it's not fair. The child doesn't need to work, the adult needs to work. So in the same way, Islam, it has the roles for each gender. So it says, look, the man he has this natural strength. He has that ability. He has to be the protector and the provider. And the lady, she has that nurturing, mothering instinct.
I think that's what I was sort of trying to. I think it's just hard because these days it's so hard to say that. I mean, I don't know if it's worth mentioning. I've got a transgender daughter, so we have this sort of issue, and my other daughter's also LGBTQ. So like we have these discussions, and I hear them talking about stuff, and I sit there thinking, no, I feel I'm a woman, and I feel what I've done is what was right for me. Like if someone said to me I had to go out and create a career for myself, I wouldn't know where to start. Whereas if they told me to go home, clean the house and cook a decent meal and care for my kids, I could do that, and I'd be happy to do that. So when I hear them saying, no, there's blue jobs and pink jobs and there's this and there's that, I keep quiet, but I think differently. Like this day and age, everything's changing. You've got to be so careful what you say.
Yeah, and that's, I would say that's a symptom of atheism in the society where, okay, now we've abandoned God, let's say, and we're almost in an experiment of trying all these new things, and you were seeing the negative effects of it in society.
Chaotic.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
It feels like it's chaotic.
Family structure's gone. Women are realizing, okay, I'm hitting 30, I'm hitting 40, I haven't got kids. Now I suddenly want kids, but they didn't plan for that beforehand. It was drilled into them that they need a career.
Exactly.
And, you know, they kind of, and that job will just fire you at the earliest convenience or when they don't need you anymore, you know?
It's just become a massive struggle for everyone. Like I see it with my other two sisters, like they're very career driven, and I'm the only one that isn't out of the three of us. And it seems like a constant battle of who can get the biggest house, who can get the best car, who's got the promotion. I feel like I was quite lucky that I was able to raise my children without having to go to work. I feel like I was lucky doing that. Because for a long time I used to think, oh, why didn't I go to uni? And that just never really occurred to me.
Yeah, because right now society expects you to send your kids to be raised by someone else while you go and work. That's basically what society is now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Islam is the opposite, you know, it fits with nature and it promotes them natural roles, you know, and it gives scope for whoever wants to not go down that path. Okay, that's up to you. But this is the kind of general guidance that, okay, yeah, mother can raise children and the man can provide, and that's naturally what fits.
Works for me.
And it's worked for thousands of years for most humans, so
Yeah.
yeah. How do you feel like this promotes accountability? Because you've touched on it as well about people and their actions and kind of thinking they can get away with things, but this is very different. This chapter tells you the accountability is there. You can have to answer. So yeah, how does that make you feel? What do you think about that? Because you said you were intrigued, when
I was. Initially, it made me I felt like something woke up, and I was suddenly very aware of what I've done and what I might have not done, what good I've done. It made me start questioning myself, like, have I done more good than bad? Like, what would my record be like? The biggest thing I got from it was that moving forward, I would be more aware of doing good. And if I'd wronged someone, I would want to apologize. And it sounds very selfish, but I would do it for myself rather than apologizing to them to make them feel better. I'll be thinking, right, I need to clean my record up. So yeah, I think if I listened to that every day, it would make me definitely more aware of my actions and what I would do. I would think before I do something.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting point you mentioned about your intention for asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
So in Islam, what we try and do is we try and make our intention for the sake of God for everything that we do. Even waking up, we'll be like, right, I'm waking up for the sake of God, so that I can, continue my life and worship Him with the life that He's given me. Same, if I wrong someone, I'll ask for forgiveness for the sake of God, because ultimately He's the one that commanded us not to do that wrong thing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But there can be secondary things as well, which you just mentioned. That is, for the purity of your own heart, you need that, because when you carry these grudges or you carry this like guilt and stuff, it's not good.
You can't hide from yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, interesting point, and it's completely valid as well. Yeah, and I think last thing, there's fear and hope mentioned often in the Quran. We're going to touch on that more in the last video. But what do you think motivates you more out of those two? Like, do you think the threat of answering for your sins and being punished is more of a motivator, or is it the hope of getting the reward or something for doing good deeds is more of a motivator? Is it equal?
Before I watched the video, I thought it was more about how I can channel my life, on a sort of selfish level. Whereas, I felt like I needed guidance. I needed something to follow. Since I watched the video, there is that little bit of fear as well. I wouldn't say it's quite like sort of, really scary. It's more thought-provoking, and it makes you think that, I should have that element of fear as well. Obviously, before I watched the video, I didn't think so much of that. But now I watched it, it's definitely changed something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the way like some of the scholars and teachers in Islam, they describe it like a bird. So you have the head of the bird, which is love. So that is love of God, and that gives you a direct sense of direction. Then you have the two wings, so it's hope and fear. So if you become imbalanced on either of them, you will crash and fall. So there's people out there that they fear so much of the punishment, they fear they'll never be forgiven, and that it causes them to despair of the mercy of God, which is wrong. And then you have those who are too hopeful. They think, oh, right, I can just ask God for forgiveness and I'll be fine, And then what you see is they become completely lax in their life with their dealings with others. They don't to a point where they almost don't care. They think, oh yeah, God's the most merciful. It's okay. So
this a lot, because they were talking about in the mosque about forgiveness, and that you get forgiven.
Exactly, yeah. So that's where the balance comes in. You need that balance of hope and fear. Otherwise, you're going to go into a problem either way.